Okay. Go faster. Play faster. Oh, yeah. That's the end of that song, I think. I think that's the end of that song. I don't know. Somebody tell me if that song is going to keep playing somewhere off in the distance. Why is chat not working? Right out the gate. Right out the gate, this software just works so good. Refresh. Ugh. Chat, no chat? Do we have no chat? Okay, oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Hey, look at that. The software works out it's supposed to. How wonderful. How wonderful is that? You start your stream, and then you got to mess around. Then you got to mess around with the stupid software that you pay money for, right? That's even the funner part. The funner part about it is that you pay money for the stupid software to work, and then it doesn't. Michael Boulos, what's up? My dudes, what's up? Let's see. Who was first to the chat today? Witchy Cat. Here I am. Rock me like a hurricane. How'd the rest of that song go? Meow, meow, meow. Meow. Right? Isn't that how it goes? I think that's how the song goes. Frank Dominguez, first to the chat. Correct. First to the chat. Oh, Frank Dominguez. For sure. 100%. We got to point out the elephant in the room. This tank is pissing me off. Something up with this tank. And we're starting to get to the point where I don't even know what's going on. I think the biggest contributing problem that I have right now is feeding live food to the puffer. That's my problem. It seems to be the long laundry list of what's going on with this tank back here. This one. Sorry, I got to do it the weird way. It's actually not feeding live food. Sorry, feeding frozen food. Having to feed frozen food to Puffy all the time is creating an algae environment. Which means I got to get a different tank set up and get Puffy into a tank that is just filled with snails, I think, is basically what I got to do. So we'll get to work on that at some point. I don't know when that's going to be. Yeah. So, elephant in the room. We pointed it out right at the beginning. I know there's algae back there. I get it. It doesn't look great. It's alive, and everything's alive, though. So, we got that going for us. Everything's alive and healthy, so that's the upside to the algae battle. The tank is healthy. It's ultimately going to be fine someday. Who else is in the chat today? Joel G, Kiwi Mamo, what's up? My Kiwis, both Kiwis are here in the house on a Monday. Well, hey, we appreciate you for coming all the way out, even though it's Tuesday where you're at. I believe it's Tuesday morning in New Zealand, I think, otherwise known as Hump Day. New Zealand time. I believe it's tomorrow, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on a Tuesday in New Zealand. Actually, you know what else we need to check? New Zealand weather. Say you got the same weather. You have the exact same weather as I do right now. It says over there it's 55 degrees, partly cloudy with a chance of participation. A chance of participation? Yeah, you heard me. Participating moisture. Moist wetness falling from the sky, participating in everyone's lives. Yeah, you guys have the exact same weather as I do, so we are as they say, kismet. Kismet, right? Yahtzee or something? I'm not 100% sure. Anybody listening today will realize that anyone will realize that my voice sounds crazy still. My voice sounds crazy still. I've been proven incorrect in my callous assumption that I was going to survive the new school cold, the new school year cold. I caught it, and I was like, this is no big deal. This is no big deal. This cold's no big deal. I'm going to be fine. No, apparently I'm going to die of phlegm, mucus, maybe sinus infection. I don't know what has been going on, but it's been 2 shitty weeks of coughing up things and sounding weird. Although maybe it's better for the ladies, right? Either way, who knows? I'm not dead. I'm not actually dead, but yeah, I just sound like hell. But I actually do feel better, so that's good, right? Is today Hump Day in New Zealand? Oh, that's true. You got me again. I was wrong twice. Hump Day is Wednesday. Actually, Hump Day's every day. All right, guys. Let's be crass for a moment here. If Wednesday is Hump Day, everyone knows what you're talking about, right? Like, oh, we're getting over the hump of the middle of the week. The only reason that ever got popular is because people like to hump things, right? And so why don't we just lean into that and say every day is Hump Day? There's potential, right? There's potential to make a connection, right? There's potential to make a human connection out there in the world. Everyone has a good time, you know? And maybe a nap, sandwich, who knows? I wonder how many of us need to be here before the Fish Fam link shows up. I think Fish Fam link is automated. I think it just automatically actually, to be true, it was talking again last week, so we're not 100% sure if it's actually a robot or not, because sometimes it starts talking, and that's a problem. That's a problem for everyone involved that wants to try and also be a human. Like, we're all out here just trying to be humans, and we're not 100% sure if that bot is actually a bot. Skynet, right? I think it's Skynet more than anything else, and it's probably becoming aware, and it'll launch a nuke sooner or later. Just some people out at the park living their dream. Not a cell phone in sight, right? Isn't that the meme? And then Skynet shoots nukes off, and everybody catches on fire. Oops. I just pushed a hotkey on accident. And it typed something into the chat. Okay, there we go. We'll delete that. Don't push hotkeys during your stream. If you push hotkeys during your stream, the next thing you know, you'll type things into chat. Don't do that, okay? I hit the G6 button. Don't have an airplane. How much need to be here today? When it shows up in the green room, we need to worry. That's true. If you guys don't know what the green room is, it's our chat room in the Discord. So if you ever want to call into the show and tell me I'm a dipshit, you become a member on YouTube. Like Witchy Cat has gifted a membership to Cowgirl at Heart, who, by the way, I have never seen Cowgirl at Heart in the chat or anything. But my guess would be they have watched a bunch of videos recently. Because when you gift memberships, what it does is it allocates watch time, comments, likes, dislikes, interaction with the YouTube channel. Oh, my God. What's the word I'm thinking for? It puts it all in a bucket, and whoever rises to the top, whoever's the creamy, foamy top of the YouTube viewer bucket, that's who gets the first membership, and then it descends from there. So my guess would be Cowboy at Heart has been watching a bunch of our videos here, and my guess, if I had to wager a guess, that's probably somebody who's watching a lot of the Plant Encyclopedia videos. I would guess. I think that would be the case. On the chilly side, chance of rain, not a chance. It's a certainty. It's October. I'm in Southland. It will rain. Wonderful. I love it. I love the moisture. It gets the moisture on its skin, right? You know how it goes. And but it is rapidly becoming fall here and rapidly becoming winter. It is approaching. Okay, we've got some days of cold weather already headed our way. I saw the overnight lows of 35 degrees coming up this week. To those of you on the Celsiums, that's a 1 degree, getting close to freezing. And that's already happening in October. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't understand the weather. I read a whole bunch of things about the weather, and then I realize I should probably go to school for many years before I really start to understand the weather patterns, because strangely enough, the people with that expertise seem to know a lot more than I do, right? So I defer to their experience and opinion, and on a regular basis, actually daily, I check the weather report, and I go, wow, look at all those experts working on the weather report. And by golly, they're always pretty close. So I get a good idea that it's not going to be 95 degrees with thunderstorms today, right? So I go, oh, it's going to be like 58, 62 degrees, and it might rain. Okay, I better bring a jacket. And in Western Washington, 62 degrees is probably shorts weather. You know, you got to throw on your short pants, your shants, as it were. You got to throw those on, let people see your calves, let people check out your gams a little bit, just some calves, maybe some hiking socks and some like cross-country sandals or something, whatever those are called. They're like if sandals and a hiking boot had sex. What are those things called? Tevas maybe or something? What are those called? Hold on. Cross country sandals things. What are these things called? Tevas, Keens. These things. You see them all the time. I have a pair of Keens, so I should probably know this shit, right? If anybody wants to buy stuff off of Amazon, use this link because it gives us if you go through this link and you go over to Amazon, then you're next thing you know, and you buying shit, we get commissions because we're an advertiser. That's how advertising works. They send you to the website, and then you buy stuff, and we get a portion of the sale. I don't know if you guys are familiar with how advertising works, but that's how advertising works. These things right here, these things, they have like a hiking boot sole. I have a pair of Keens, but they're like river rafting Keen. Let's see if we can't find them. They're like shoes though, but you can get them underwater. Where are they? Do they not exist? Maybe they don't exist on the internet. Maybe they don't exist on Amazon. Maybe they don't exist. Oh, the closed-toe hiking sport sandals. This is the shit I'm talking about. I see people rocking these all the time. I guess it sort of makes sense, right? I guess it sort of makes sense in a way, now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it out loud. I'm like, this has a place in the world. But anyhow, the reason I brought it up is that you could wear some wool socks, your shorts, and these things. You could go fast. You could jump through mud puddles, and they won't be ruined. Your feet will get wet, but they won't be ruined. And anyhow, everyone will be able to check out your calves, your sexy calves in 62-degree weather, right? And everyone's entertained by that. Everyone loves it. Keep Joel amused and buy adult sex toys. That's right. People buy sex toys through my Amazon links, and it is the most amazing thing. Realistically, I have the mind of a child, right? I literally have the mind of a child, and I'm like, if that shows up in there, cackle with joy. I just cackle with absolute uncontainable joy. Like the joy level is so high, and it warms my heart, my cold black dead heart. It warms it, and it makes me laugh, and it makes me happy. We have none this month. Apparently October's not very sexy, but last month was. September was. People going around on Amazon finding some good toys for themselves. We don't need to get specific, but you know what I'm talking about. Toys. They vibrate. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like a vibrator. You know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, I remember a while ago somebody said, "Well, what about your show on the internet's not safe for kids?" I'm like, I never said it was safe for kids, and as a matter of fact, I always, when I set up the stream, there's buttons that say, "Is this for kids?" And I say, "No." And it says, "Is there adult content?" And I say, "Yes." And then if your kids are watching it, that's on you. So I don't know what to tell you. Now, I'm not going to go completely off the deep end around here, We're a fairly moderate group, but I'm definitely not going to shy away from things that I find to be fucking hilarious, as it were. A water boot so you don't cut your feet walking in the water. That's right, yeah. So when you're rafting and you go busting off and flying into the river and you got to get your footing, that's why I have those. But mine are they're like closed up with some kind of space age mesh technology that's probably designed for going on the moon or something, Recap Harris is here. What's up? Bonsoir says, I've been away. I see you got the fish room up. Nice. Yes, I do. I got some fish tanks going. We have the whole office is built here. I have building materials in the background because that's just so good for a stream to just have building materials in the background of your stream. This pile used to be about this big, and now it's this big. I think, yeah, I'm down to less sheets back there. And those extra ones are for building this over here, which I am going to make a video about. Building all the fronts to this tank extravaganza that I have in the room here. In the meantime, projects have been getting in the way of doing fish projects, mainly because I don't make enough money doing fish projects to only do fish projects. Simple as that. We don't have enough members. We don't have enough patrons. We don't have enough advertisers. We have 0 advertisers, except for we have Amazon account, which people need to buy dildos. People need to buy lots and lots of dildos, like Diddy quantities, right? We need people to buy is it Puff Daddy? I don't know, whatever his name, whatever he's changing his name to on a daily basis. But we need Puff Daddy quantities. Quality doesn't matter at this point. We need quantity. We need lots of commissions is basically how that's got to work. So we don't have a whole lot of time to make YouTube videos these days, and things got really spicy this morning with some changes around here with Victoria's state of employment. We don't need to get into any specifics or anything like that, but the multi-conglomerate corporation that she's working for is axing lots of departments as we speak. So, things are getting weird around here today. Things aren't super weird. Things aren't super stressful or anything like that. We will sort it out. Things shall be sorted. There is a package in place to help pay for the transition into whatever else is in the future here. As you could tell, I'm being super vague, but I'm also trying to tell you guys that something really big happened. So we're dealing with the blows as they come, and it shall be fine. Things will work out. But I had a conversation with somebody who is likely, I don't know, not 100% sure. Somebody that's going to start potentially collaborating, corroborating, doing something with YouTube content at some point last week. And I'm not trying to blow it out of proportion. I'm not trying to make it into like a big giant thing. But we did have a conversation about a potential collaboration, but the reason that I bring up the conversation is we had about a half an hour, 45-minute conversation about like the state of affairs of things. Like, what am I doing with the YouTube channel? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the plan? What's the end goal? Like, what the hell am I doing around here? And I didn't realize that my end goal really has been to try and make like documentary type things, to make things that sort of stand out in a field where most people stand out. Like the people that make stuff for like Discovery Channel and stuff like that is amazing, right? And those people are standout at their job, and I'm probably not. So I was kind of thinking about that over the weekend, and I came to the realization that like Werner Herzog basically was just making insane documentaries for a really long time, and still is. And I realized that that's probably something along the lines of like what I kind of want to do with this YouTube channel. So I'm trying to figure out like how we could like responsibly even try to accomplish that task. So far, I don't think it has like solidified as to like, here's the thing I got to do, and then roll with that. So that's kind of what's just been like on my mind all weekend. Vicky was out of town also. She was gone for almost 6 days this whole last week. Well, yeah, 6 days, because she was gone. I took her to get her car on Tuesday in the morning, and then she got back last night. I don't know how many days that is. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I think that's 6 days. I don't know. I've been wrong twice already on the stream. Probably going to be wrong about 20 or 30 more times before the end of the stream. So anybody correct me if 6 days. I think it's 6 days. I don't know. Either way, I did the single dad thing for 6 days, and I can tell you this much. That is not something that anyone should sign up for. Being a single parent is ridiculous. I don't understand how you survive. I don't know. Actually, I do understand how you survive. Like, human nature just says, just keep going, and you get used to it to some degree, and then you just get more and more frazzled, and then you start looking like Walter Matthau sooner than later, right? So I think that's how people make it through it. But there should be, by that estimate, there should be more people looking like Walter Matthau. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know. I don't know. Either way, I was single dad there for the better part of 6 days. And was it traumatizing? Yes. Did we get through it with barely any scrapes? Also, yes. We did fine. We did okay. I don't think we could maintain it for weeks and weeks on end, though. Things would get weird. Yeah. Witchycat says, I miss it, but it shouldn't be as hard as it was. Yeah, I think that's ultimately the big problem. And that also ties back into when we talk about, like, when we get political, and we can get political because this is my show, and people will just tell me, like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Yeah. And then they scream and yell off into the distance. I'm like, okay, whatever. But when people of sound mind, relatively of sound mind, when they talk about like social programs, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about like kids being able to eat, parents being able to going grossly into debt. Like, Vicky and I haven't gone grossly into debt, but when we start to calculate just how much we had to pay for daycare, which we still have to pay for daycare because school isn't long enough to occupy a work day, with transportation, with extracurricular stuff, with all of those things going on, healthcare, all that shit. It's just monumental for people to try and have kids and try and just exist within this country. A good friend of mine posted a meme the other day, or earlier today, actually, that was an explanation of it's sort of impossible to just exist in the United States because the insane amount of capitalism that has run rampant over the last 50 years in the United States the unfettered capitalism, the dropping of all regulations, the reduction of taxes on the ultra wealthy and whatnot, has led to a point where you can't just exist anymore. It's not good enough. You need to produce at all points in time. At all points in time in your day, you need to be producing, creating money, gathering money, and then giving it to somebody else. Or we're just a total nightmare failure, right? So it's a weird dynamic of living in this world, constantly getting into interactions with people that vehemently support a maniacal narcissist like Donald Trump. When I go, the Republican Party has essentially only had one candidate in the last 45 years that was even qualified to be president. One of them was an actor, right, who was regularly acting. The next one following up that was his vice president, who wasn't even reelected. The next one after that was the vice president's kid, who was a Nepo baby. And then the next guy after that was a Nepo baby from New York, who was a Democrat his whole entire life and then just decided to say that he was a Republican because the quantity of spray tan covering his body was too high for him to enter the Republican nomination, right? So it's a weird thing. It's a really weird thing when you go one group of Americans goes, we want to expand social programs, we want to regulate the unfettered capitalism to return to a point of productivity and overwhelming expansion of the middle class like we did in America. It's not even what did they do in Norway, what did they do in Sweden. It's what did we do in the United States of America in order to create a land that is very prosperous for the people here. Was we really, really, really taxed the shit out of the robber barons coming out of the Great Depression, because the Great Depression was caused by the robber barons. And then we saw all this growth in the United States and all this prosperity and there's all these great things happening. And then the Civil Rights Act happened and a bunch of Klan members got into office, right? And ever since then, they've been throwing up puppets. They've been throwing up puppets into position so that people like Mitch McConnell can, rub their Skeletor fingers together and go and wonder what they could extract out of the American population. And so I don't know. It's just categorically sort of crazy in this world. Hey, Joel and everyone. I believe the topic researched by today's Nobel Economy Prize winners will interest you. Straight up your alley, so to speak. Yeah, I probably would look that up. Michael Boulos says, Comrade Joel. I'm not a communist at all. I'm not even remotely a communist. Communism is fucking ridiculous. Communism is ripe for an oligarch to take power, or a dictator to take power of it. I'm a capitalist, but it needs regulation. It needs taxation. We need the working class to exist, or capitalism 100% falls apart, right? If you don't have the working class in communism or socialism, that whole system falls apart too, because then everyone just ends up in a working gulag, and they're completely ineffective, right, at doing that. I think one of the things that people don't really understand is that, like, if you have slave laborers, they don't do a very good job, right? So when you put, sorry, Michael, I get that you're joking. I mean, I would say that, like, I sympathize with the people that are like, they're wanting communism, they're wanting socialism or whatever. Like, I get it. I sympathize with the energy that they have, but I often like to talk to them. About the advantage of taxation, regulation, and having robust systems, right? And then go, is that really what you want? And more often than not, sort of 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, that's what I want. And you go, it's probably not communism is probably not what you want, right? Realistically, when you get down to it, like that's probably not a system that's going to work very well for what it is that you're hoping the world to look like. And the weird thing is that the Republican Party has managed to steal the idea that like they're going to air quote make America great again to return to a time, which my question is like, what time are you returning to? And more often than not, it's just a chaotically crazy answer, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, realistically, if we're talking about returning to a time, I would say that we would want to return to a time where everybody has their civil rights, first and foremost, right? But if we're talking about the structure of the U.S. government, is that what we're talking about? Then it would often be they're envisioning a time where white picket fences and everybody has a car and one parent works and the other one can stay home and be a stay-at-home parent and all that stuff. And if you want to return to that vision only exists in a heavily regulated capitalist society that is heavily taxed on the top end. Because when you heavily tax on the top end, they are actually required. Well, they're not required. They're incentivized to reinvest in the bottom end, right? If you say you can make $5 million a year and everything after that is taxed at 99%, right? They're de-incentivized to take that 1% of money, right? That 99% that they're going to be taxed by, you go, well, there's one of two things you could do with it. You could reinvest it in your company and the people that work at your company, or the United States government can take that money and invest it in those people in the way that we think is best fitting through a democratic process of elected officials that are going to implement that, right? So, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about returning to a good time, that's when the good times were happening in the U.S. I wholeheartedly agree with more regulation. The answer, going back to a 90% tax rate on anyone making more than $3 million a year, but nobody wants to talk about that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I 100% say that. Adam Wing is a wingnut, and he says flat tax rate equality for all, which is absurdly stupid. It's absurdly stupid. It's 100% an absurdly stupid idea. I guess maybe like you listen to Ron Paul or something, I guess, you know, these maybe, I don't know, maybe you're stuck in 1992 Ron Paul thought process, maybe, I don't know. D-Rock is here, says I'm picking up a little man from school. No work for me today since it's supposed to be a holiday. Not going to complain about a paid day off. LOL. Yeah, actually, it used to be Columbus Day. Now it's National Indigenous Peoples Day. There's an option here in Washington of like which school districts have school or not. And it's weird because there's a school over there that's closed, but Olivia's school is open today. So I don't know 100% like what is going on with that. I know the banks are closed and whatnot. We typically do our Indigenous Peoples Day is like, I don't know, I'd have to ask Vicky. We go, because Vicky's Native, we go to the Native Corporation meeting and do all that stuff that time of year. Because all the elders are there and stuff. It's very cool. And they talk about what's going on, and they do a whole presentation. It's a whole entire day. You get breakfast, then there's like 4 hours of stuff, and then everybody gets lunch, and then there's 4 hours of stuff, and then there's a dinner on the way out, and everybody, gets to go through the whole rigmarole of a lot of really good stuff as far as like what's going on with the Native community. And so we do it on that day. Today would be a weird day to do it because she has school. So hopefully she's learning some stuff today at school. We'll see. Mickham says, we often call communism is dead to most people. Socialism in different scale is what in practice for most countries, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like the reality of like air quote socialism. It's like it's more of just these days more categorized as like social programs. Realistically, is what we would want. Is what we would want things to be invested in, right? As far as our tax money goes. The irony of the whole MAGA is they actually want to regress back to the without the same tax structure of taxing 90% of the top earners. Yeah, actually, that's the weird thing. They want to regress back to the 50s, which is also one of those things. I was talking to my mother the other day. When my mother graduated high school, women weren't allowed to have a bank account or a credit card or buy a house or a bunch of other things. You had to have a husband sign off. And that's all in my mother's lifetime. I mean, she's here. She's still alive and just living a normal life. She's very active. Nothing wrong with her. And that's in my mom's lifetime. Oh man, Bonsoir says, "Oh man, shit just got real. Got to just roll with it." I don't know why I'm having problems reading that sentence, but I am. I had the same thing happen to me at the beginning of the month. Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, it's an interesting situation. My guess is that she's probably going to go back to the company. She's been there 15 years. Like I said, she was not let go because of lack of performance or anything like that. They're actually just eliminating departments out of the company. So chances are she's probably going to get rehired in a different position, would be my guess. If I had to wager any money on that situation with Vicky, that's what I think will happen. If I had to like bet on it. Oh, but did everybody hit the like button today? I don't know, YouTube. Stop asking me if everybody hit the like button. Okay, there we go. I think that must happen like 45 minutes in every time into the stream. They're like, people better hit like buttons. I don't know. It feels like 45 minutes. Or wear pants. I don't think wearing pants was an issue in my mom's lifetime. I don't think so. It was an issue in my grandmother's time, who she's still alive. She's 96. But in her lifetime, it was a problem. She went through World War II and everything, but it was a problem for women to wear pants back then. I asked her about it one day, and she said yes, when she was a young lady through school, high school, everything after that. And then probably I think she said it was probably for another 15, 20 years after that it wasn't necessarily like as grotesquely shunned or whatever, but it took a long time for women to just be able to wear some pantaloons, as it were. But she's still alive, and that's in her lifetime. And it's very weird because actually I talked to my grandmother about, after the war, like kind of what it was like. And they spent a lot of time at the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign War social place, whatever you call that thing, the VFW. And she was talking about how like those social events back then was segregated by men and women. So it was like women would be on one side of the room and men would be on one side of the room. Even to the point back then that like you really wouldn't even be mixing men and women at like a social event. Very weird. Michael, about the 90% tax rate on over making more than $3 million a year. I think the number that they have is higher than that, but I believe a lot has been talked about. I believe like $10 million a year or something like that. I voted on Friday. I love Washington and its mail-in ballots. Yeah, I haven't voted yet. Mine just haven't showed up Or maybe they are here. Not 100% sure. I'll check. But yeah, if you guys don't know this, Washington State is 100% mail-in ballots. You can go vote in person if you so want to. You can. You can go down there. There's some places where you can go do it in person if you want to. But Washington State has a very admirable voting system. Admirable voting system. You can register. You get your ballots sent to you. You vote. You put them in the safety envelope. Send them back. And you can actually track if your envelope made it through the mail to the place. A commune in Sweden pretty much means an area economically and politically run by some elected leaders. So almost any country or state can, in fact, be added to that description, like the EU or China or the USA. It's just a matter of size. Oh, okay. But that's in Swedish, and I don't speak Swedish, so I don't know. A commune? I don't know how to say that right. Commune? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see.
So let's dive into today's word. Kommune.
Kommune.
A local government administrative unit in some Germanic language-speaking countries. Unit in some local government administrative unit
means
a local
Kommune.
Kommune. I don't know. I don't know if I'm close. It's probably bad. I don't know, but I'm probably pretty close, I think, considering. Considering I don't know how to say any Swedish anything except for eep, beep, 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 bork, 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 right? Yeah, I know that. But that's Muppets, that's Muppets, you know what I mean? Anyhow, so that's what's going on there. The algae cleaning. Okay, let's get on to the algae cleaning back here in this old stinking aquarium that's causing problems. So the first things first, what I got to do is clean the glass. You got to clean the glass first. I know a lot of people clean the glass last. I don't like that. Clean the glass first so you can see what the hell you're doing. Clean the glass first, then let it run for a while. Cleaning the glass causes a lot of particulate bloom and whatnot to be stirred up amongst the water. My filtration system will pick all that stuff up. So I cleaned a portion of the glass earlier. As you can see over here, it's green down here, and it's not green up there. Oh my God! I just heard a door. Maybe it's Vicky. So I clean the glass, and then I'll let the water clear. The next stage is going to be siphoning out nasty algae along the bottom. So anywhere along the substrate, I'm going to use a small vinyl tube with my finger on the end of it to stop the flow in and out. One of the big reasons that I don't use a Python vacuum attachment type situation is that I have a lot of plants down in the substrate. So if I use that, it just disturbs a bunch of stuff, causes a big problem, and it doesn't help. So what I'm going to do is siphon out all of the little bits of hair algae and blue-green algae that are down there on the base on the top of the substrate, right? I'm going to get all that out. Then I'm going to take my trusty brush, and I'm going to clean off all of the hardscape things to get that up into the water column again. Then I'm going to let the system run for about an hour. I'm going to let that happen. Then it's going to be time for a big old water change. We got to get back into big old water changes. I was supposed to do a water change last week. I did not do a water change last week. So weekly water change disrupted. More algae for my guy. So definitely one of the big issues is following through on a water change that should have been done that I didn't do. And yeah. Still problems? What's the temp and amount of light hours? The amount of light hours are pretty reasonable. They're about 6 hours. They're probably a little lengthy, but not a big deal. I also have a ton of light on this aquarium, and the realistically, like dropping the light on the aquarium isn't going to help, because what ultimately that'll lead to is a lot of deficiencies in the plants. As you can see, the plants are growing like crazy. I don't know how well you guys can see the tank because it's probably a little out of focus, but you get the idea. It's filled up with a lot of plants, and the plants are growing, and we want the plants to grow because the plants growing are going to cause it to balance out a lot easier. I also may or may not have fertilized a little bit wackadoo to start out. About a month ago, I think I was using some suspect fertilizers, and so I have since thrown those in the garden because I don't care about algae growing outside in my garden. It doesn't work that way. So it's been relocated. A bunch of it I stuck in the compost just to let the compost get more robust, and since then we have some other fertilization that we're doing. Yeah, no snails. I don't have any snails in this tank because Puffy eats them all. So Puffy is going hammer town on eating up all of the snails. So that's one of the big issues that I have, is that I don't have a decent cleaning crew because Puffy is constantly eating all of the snails out of here. So one of these days, as it were, like I said, I'm going to have a different tank set up, and I'm going to put Puffy in there. When will that be? I don't know. I don't have a date. I have other projects I got to do, but Puffy is prolific at eating snails. There was a point in time where he wouldn't eat so many snails that I could continue to keep the snails to keep adding snails in there and keep the population sort of going. But he is prolific. He is a prolific eater now. He will hammer all of the snails. They will all be eaten or at least murdered. So one of the things that he likes to do is knock the snail over and bite their foot, the bottom part of the snail that crawls around in the glass and everything, called the foot. He will bite that and then go on to the next snail. Yeah. Is there another way to call into the show? I can't log into my Discord. I don't have a phone number anymore for having people call in. That was an additional cost that I was maintaining. That was a brutal waste of money. So I axed that and got rid of it. Discord's the way to do it. Is there anybody in the green room today? Nope, there's nobody in there. So Discord's the way to do it. And somebody a while ago said, I don't understand why I got to be a member or a patron. And I'm like, it's to gatekeep. It's essentially to gatekeep the angry troll calls. You know, like I don't know that I want to deal with it. I guess I could launch another Discord and have the trolls join that. But realistically, we do one stream. We do one stream a week here on Mondays, and it's probably not super beneficial content-wise to have just trolls calling in and doing the Baba Booey thing or whatever. So, yeah. Oh, Witchy Cat's here. What's up, dude?
Nada. What's up with you? Well, I already know what's up with you. Don't answer that. That was a dumb question.
I'm just chilling, bro. Chilling.
Chilling, Nod.
Yeah. So what's going on up in the mountain? Is it snowing yet?
No, it's been mostly cloudy. It's been really, windy up here, so.
Yeah, it's
and
been
the leaves have finally changed.
It's been suspiciously windy today. I don't know what's going on with it. It was like windy and then not, and then windy and then not. It's just in a weird way. Very weird.
Yeah,
Normally when it's windy in my neck of the woods, it's somehow associated with the ocean, right? So it's more consistent. But today it's been this weird thing of like completely still and then like and then still again. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah, was crazy earlier today. It was blowing all kinds of things around. The chickens were yet again being comedic in their attempts to stand up. They're like really bad mimes walking against the wind.
Kiwi Mamo says they're back. Their computer crashed, but Carer arrived. So I'll have to go and we'll be back later for the replay. Well, if you are back later for the replay, you got to holler at Replay Team 6 because Replay Team 6 has died. I think they all died. I think they all went on a road trip together in a Volkswagen bus, I think. In my mind, that's what they were doing. And they just careened off a cliff like O'Doyle, you know? The O'Doyle rules, and then they fly off the cliff.
Good times.
What was the O'Doyle rules from?
I have no clue.
O'Doyle rules. Billy Madison. Billy Madison. Here we go.
I don't know it.
We'll see if we get... Where is it? Oh, here it is.
O'Doyle rules. Thanks a lot, O'Doyle. Nice meeting you. Thanks a lot, fellas. You're saving my life. O'Doyle rules. O'Doyle, I got a feeling you're...
Where is it? Yeah, here it comes. Then the station wagon hits a banana peel. And then O'Doyle goes off the cliff. Yeah, bad things happen to those guys. We probably got a copyright claim for watching that, but who cares? That's life.
Ooh, the old wood-paneled station wagon.
Yeah. Yeah, Billy Madison. O'Doyle rules, and then they hit a banana peel, and then they go flying off a cliff. And they don't even show it, but you know what happened. Volkswagen, so they became hippies. Yeah, I think Replay Team 6, I think they started taking psychedelic mushrooms, and they started tripping a lot. And then they decided to go on a road trip in a Volkswagen van. And
Mark and Shelby. It's a very interesting crowd.
Our Volkswagen bus, a microbus. Yeah, there we go. And they started touring around. And they started following the Grateful Dead, but then they realized that the Grateful Dead don't do that anymore.
Now they're just at the world's longest fish concert.
And they just went right off, you know, O'Doyle rules style. You know, I think that's what happened to them. Can't be certain. Erythromycin is the only way I've found to eliminate BGA. Yeah, I think the easier way to realistically eliminate BGA is an erythromycin treatment, but UV also works really well too. A UV sterilizer added to the system helps a lot because it essentially sterilizes all of the, I don't know if you want to call it spores is the right word. I don't know. But I guess the spores that go out to spread further and further, it basically just starts knocking all those down. So then as you eliminate the little bits of blue-green algae that are showing up in the tank with manual removal, eventually you just overcome what it can and can't do with human intervention, which, by the way, is always the best way to treat any aquarium is human intervention. People will buy plecos and whatever and throw them in there and then hope that they'll hope that plecos and bristlenose plecos and snails and stuff like that will take care of the algae for them, which it is a slight helper to clean up the detritus and whatnot out of the tank. It is helpful, but it's not gonna cure it 100%.
And they produce their own variant, so it doesn't. You never get rid of it 100% that way.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I mean, it's just you think of 100 shrimp, and then think of one full-grown human. How much can do more work than the other. It's it's always going to be the human. Oh my god, I'm getting the phlegm cough thing. It sucks.
Yes, it sounds like it. So what
It's
are you
been
doing to
ongoing
prepare
for weeks
winter?
now. What's that?
Oh, I said, so what are you doing to prepare for winter?
Putting on pants, wearing long pants, closed-toed shoes.
There you go. Done.
I'm hiding my calves from sight. People can't check out my sexy calves anymore. That's how I get ready for winter. They're like,
Your gams.
we switched to long pants, bros. Sorry.
Well, damn it.
Sounds like the start of Land Down Under by Men at Work. Yeah, actually, I think so.
I vaguely
The
remember
beginning
that
of
movie.
beginning of that song has a lot of clamoring in it. Although I would say a better song is "Bless the Rains" by Toto, right? You know that song? Do 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 do. Me and a sous chef of mine, way back in the day, when we were getting ready for dinner service, there's all this what you call mise en place happens before dinner. So it's generally about 2:30 or 3 o'clock. The restaurant will stop doing lunch. They're like, there's no more lunch. We're just doing some appetizers for a little while. So there's a guy way on the other side of the kitchen that's freaking out because people are ordering like, seared ahi tuna on a little cracker because they're hanging out having drinks on a Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Degenerates, right? Anyhow, so that guy's busy, but everybody else is getting ready for dinner service. They call it mise en place, which means essentially in French, just get all your shit ready, right? And so you're doing all that. Now, guys will be searing off stuff. They'll be making sauces. They'll be chopping up stuff. They'll be doing this. They'll be doing that. There's a ton of different things going on. Million things, and they lose track. These MFers, for all of the glorious ability that they have, completely lose track of time and have no idea what's going on. So what we did is we set up a timer, and I forget how long the song is for, hold on. Blessed the Rains song length. I used to know this. I don't know how long the song is. Yeah, it's 4 minutes and 32 seconds long. So 5 minutes before dinner service, my old sous chef, this little guy, his timer would go off, and then he would go over and he would hit play on Toto, Bless the Rains in Africa, which means you got 5 minutes, but he would turn it up as loud as it could possibly go. So it would just torment the entire kitchen crew, and they'd be like, do, 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 do. And it was like, oh, sweet mother of God, I got 5 minutes. Or, they would all freak the fuck out. And they're still, to this day, tormented by that song because we would always play it right before dinner service was going to pop off. And so you know that you're about to get screwed in about 5 minutes when all these tickets start coming into the kitchen for all this whack stuff people are ordering. Because invariably the servers will go around and they'll get all of these orders and then just hold on to them. And then right at the time, they go up and they're just on the screen, they're just ordering, modifying, changing, typing shit in, sending notes to the kitchen. Although I did work with this gal, her name was Carrie, and she was a very exciting character to be around. I'll put it that way. She would always send in like the dirtiest notes on the first ticket of the day. And just imagine whatever disgusting thing that you can think of, that gal would type it in.
That's funny.
Would type it in on the first ticket. So at the very least, you would get a laugh out of her first ticket of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever's expediting orders is trying not to shout it out and laugh simultaneously. That's funny.
Yeah, it's very true. Why is your audio is low again? I don't understand how this keeps happening. We don't even fix it when I'm not streaming. And there's a sign. There's
Blazingly loud.
something wrong with me. I know you're super loud, but it's not like being rebroadcast. Is there like a compressor on or something? I don't understand. This is fucking ridiculous. Do. Maybe I do have. No?
Maybe I'm just stuck in Africa.
I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe you bless the rains down in Africa.
No rain yet. I'm not ready for rain.
It's so
Rain
weird.
bad.
Every stream is going to be disrupted by this forever.
Sorry. I'll just stop calling. Then you don't have to.
No, that's not it. It's one of these days I have to figure out what the hell's going on.
All right.
Sorry for Witchy Cat's lack of volume. I always have to remember to not call you Rebecca, because then people will know your name.
I don't care if people know my name.
I know, but then they'll know.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but then they'll know. And they're like,
They can't know. They shouldn't know.
yeah, that's Witchy Cat. Which
Just add extra letters at
Which
random. No big deal.
I did make you change your name
Yes, you did.
to Witchy Cat. So, yeah. So does it give you some PTSD every time Africa plays? Generally speaking, yes, to a degree. But the upside to that song was, check this out. The upside to that song is it has a thick groove. When all of your stuff when you're ready and you're prepared and that song comes on, then you're just like, ooh, 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 boo, boo. You're just grooving, right? And by the way, the glory in that is that now you just grooving and just feeling the thickness of how much the rains have been blessed down in Africa is going to torment all of your other coworkers that are way behind. And it is a beautiful moment. So
And
if
suddenly you're pelted with food because they're throwing shit at you.
no, it doesn't happen in the kitchen. They don't throw food at each other. Although I did have this dishwasher guy that I worked with about 1 million years ago. He was this crazy Irish guy. Everybody called him Red. To this day, I have no idea what his real name is. And he was just drunk. He was just an old, drunk Irish guy. And everyone called him Red because he had red hair. And he was drunk as hell all the time, right? And he had like the rosacea nose where he's all red. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. From drinking all the time. And he was a savage nightmare to deal with, right? So he would work crazy hard. But we're talking about a guy who realistically should have been in his prime at like 50 years old. Worked blue collar, so he was strong. He should have been doing really good work, but he was a dishwasher at a restaurant, right? Because of his drinking and his insane like anger problems and all that. So he had like psychological problems on top of the drinking and, but he was super strong and he would work hard and he would get all the stuff done that he needed to get done. But he had a terrible sense of humor from a guy that was obviously taking other drugs other than just the drug of alcohol, right? His thing was that restaurant, the dishwasher was responsible for heating up all of the baked potatoes, right? So that restaurant did a shitload of prime rib every night. Does that make sense? We do like...
And that's a lot of potatoes.
That's a lot of potatoes, right? Because these old people would come in and they need to eat a giant baked potato and like 24 ounces of prime rib. For some reason, they would never eat it. They would always order it. But you're like 78 years old trying to stuff 24 ounces of prime rib down your gullet. It's probably not going to work, right? Anyhow, so they would come in. Everybody's got to have a baked potato all the time. So the dishwasher was responsible for cooking baked potatoes in the back kitchen, like way, way, way in the back. They essentially had, a big 3-sink system where you would wash the potatoes, dry them out on this rack, and then be constantly feeding them into the oven throughout dinner service so you could try to have fresh baked potatoes. And then he'd bring them up to the kitchen where service was happening, and they have a drawer that's like an oven. It's a oven drawer. And you would take the old baked potatoes out, put the new baked potatoes in, and we had 2 of those, so he could do this one like this time, and then he could do this one next time and just go switch between the 2, right? Now, the old baked potatoes are like 275 degrees probably sitting in that oven. I mean, they're hot as hell. If you ever gave this guy grief, he would start throwing those hot baked potatoes at you. And his goal was to hit you square in the back, in the middle of the back, because the baked potato would smack to you, and then it would stick. And it would just burn the shit out of your back. And that was his sense of humor. Needless to say, I had a few big giant burns on my back over the years working with that guy. And I don't miss the giant baked potato burns on my back.
I can't imagine you would.
From a
Jesus.
piece of shit that probably ended up in prison, I would guess. If I had to guess, he probably is in prison living out the rest of his days, I would guess. If he still is alive, I don't know. He might be dead by now. One of the 2 things is probably true.
Wow.
Mickham says baked potato is awesome. I'm not a huge fan of the baked potato. I'm not a huge fan. I like a scalloped potato or like a riced potato. That's quite good. Or a gnocchi. Make a gnocchi, right? If you got baked potatoes, make some gnocchi, dude. That's goods, right? Just a baked potato is just kind of sad. What's that?
Oh, I was just thinking potato pancakes.
You like baked potatoes, right?
I do. I like.
Yeah, you're a big fan of baked potatoes. You're so pedestrian. You're so pedestrian with your baked potato love.
Well, I like the skins the best, especially when they're crunchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always say, like, just peel it out, right? And then take the center of the baked potato and rice that. And then take the skins and put those back in the oven and bake those up, with some bacon. Put some bacon on there. Get some cave aged white sharp cheddar cheese, and make like a really thin slice of that on the baked potato with the bacon on it, the skin. Take that out of the oven, then drop the cheese on there so that cheese just doesn't get all broiled up and shitty. It just melts right on the top. So then you have perfect bites of cheese and bacon and potato. See, that's the kind of shit that you got to do if you want to be an adult in the kitchen.
And I'm there with that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I'm there with that.
Yeah. It's good times. And everybody likes it because it's got bacon on it. I've even made vegan versions of that with this like vegan sauce, and then they make a vegan bacon. And there actually is a decent like white cheddarish vegan cheese. I don't know what the hell it's made out of, tofu or something. And I've made the vegan version of that, and they liked it too. So,
I've had great success with vegan cheeses. I like to do
cheeses. Let me see if I can't find the one that's good. What's the best place to look for that? I think, let's just go Amazon, because Amazon Fresh will probably find something. Vegan white cheddar sharp. That's what we want to find. Then we can see if we can find that one.
And even if I don't have a bacon substitute, a portobello will work. A nice marinated portobello to replace the bacon.
Is this? I think this is regular. I think this is regular cheese. Yeah. That's Vermont.
certainly know their cheese.
Where is it? I'm just saying, like, I'm wondering if I can find it on Amazon. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. So just go with regular cheese and regular bacon then, folks. If you're going to make that, just go regular.
Yeah, why be vegan?
Because, well, some people are vegan. I was vegan for almost 5 years in my youth. I was very health conscious. Very health conscious. But I also did shitloads of heroin, cocaine, and alcohol at the same time.
Balance those two things out after all.
Very weird. Very weird dynamic, right? You're like working out, you're eating vegan, you're taking care of yourself, but then you just do tons of drugs and alcohol, right? Well, mainly because, like, you know, if you're going to be doing that, you might as well be partying, right? You might as well be partying. You know, at the time back then, there were a lot of ladies of the night that needed partying with, as it were, you know?
Well, there you have it.
There's probably less now, I would guess, because of
Right out.
the advent of technology, right?
True.
They get found out. They get found out. I'm just telling you. Back in the day, people didn't necessarily get found out if you went out and had fun, right? Because you weren't being recorded wherever you went.
Wherever you went.
At least if you were, it was probably like a government agency or something that like didn't release it straight to TikTok.
Video
Yeah.
and yes, your Insta reels.
I got to tell you something.
All right, I've got to hear it.
I got to tell you something. Up here in northwestern Washington, I saw that they opened a boot barn. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Boot Barn, but I buy a lot of shirts from Boot Barn, and I'm very excited that they have a retail store here that's not 80 miles away. Because I think the closest one is like Ellensburg, maybe.
Okay. So am I to understand that the Dickies plaid shirts are going to begin to multiply? We're going to get some fresh new looks?
No, they don't carry Dickies shirts. Dickies stopped making the these ones. These are my favorite shirt, these Dickie ones. But Dickies doesn't make them as far as I can tell anymore. They like just stopped making them. And these were the most breathable, and they're like got a little stretch to them so they don't get ripped and fucked up all the time. But they just don't make them anymore as far as I can tell. Maybe there's somebody out there that like knows and they're like, yeah, they do. You just have to go here.
All right.
Mickham says, is it good clothing for okay price? Yes, but it's like cowboy shit. So I don't wear cowboy boots or cowboy hats, but I wear cowboy shirts. I don't wear cowboy pants either because cowboy pants are super uncomfortable and they rip all the time. Regular jeans don't work for me. So regular jeans last maybe a week.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think the nearest one was, oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't Ellensburg. It was Bellingham. Which Bellingham is not far from. Bellingham's not far from where I live, but it's still just like a drive to go out to a clothing store. Seems like an asshole move.
And that stretch between where you are and Bellingham, even though it's not hugely long, seems like it takes a bazillion years to travel up that section of I-5.
It takes a bit. Somebody always crashes a truck or something up there, so it always takes forever.
Yeah.
So this last weekend, just around the corner from where we live, we got to go to the Washington State University. Hold on, I got to figure out what this is.
Oh, the orchard.
Fruit Research and Extension Center. Vernon. So the Washington State University that is in Spokane, Washington. Don't say Spokane. We'll know you're not from here. In Spokane, Washington, close to Idaho, Washington State University, the Cougars, they have 2 of these tree centers. They are called the Washington State University Tree Fruit Research and Extension Center, which means everything orchard-wise, sponsored by a college, with professors, with scientists, with people working on one of my favorite things, trees, mixed with another one of my favorite things, fruit. You combine the two, you've got a tree that fruits that you can eat, right? These are things that I'm very interested in. This last weekend, they had an event where you could go to their orchard and you could pick all the fruit, and they had a lot of presentations, which I didn't get to watch any of the presentations because, as I explained earlier in the stream, I've been a single dad all week. And when you're a single dad with a 5-year-old girl who's very excited to go outside and run around, she does not want to sit in an auditorium and listen to somebody who's verging on 9,000 years old talk about pollinating fruit trees at a pace that would boggle your mind, how incredibly slow it was. But up in Mount Vernon, there is a center like this. There's another one in Wenatchee, Washington. I'm not driving to Wenatchee, Washington to go look at fruit trees. And more appropriately, Wenatchee, Washington is in eastern Washington. I live in western Washington. So if I want to go look at trees that will grow in eastern Washington, I don't live there, right? But I wanted to go look at trees and meet some experts and try some samples of fruit that had fruited in western Washington, where I live, so we can have some opportunities to plant a couple of trees on our property here. So we went to that. We ran around the orchard for hours and hours. Olivia ate probably 6 pears and 4 apples in the whole time that we were there. And every single adult that I've mentioned it to has gone, "Oh my God, did she poop?" And the answer to that question is yes, she absolutely did. But it wasn't as bad as you're envisioning. It was a pretty regular poop. She eats lots of fruit anyhow, so not all that crazy. Didn't have like crazy diarrhea or anything wild like that. But we had a great time there. Although it wasn't exactly what we expected, we still had a great time. We picked a bunch of fruit. We got a big bag of strange stuff. I didn't take any pictures or anything. Realistically, I took a couple with my phone, mainly because I was hanging out with my daughter. It wasn't time to do photography. It was time to hang out with my daughter. So that's what we did. But this place was fucking awesome, and we're going to be going back there as much as we humanly possible. If anybody is interested in what this place is, control, copy, and paste into the chat. That's this place if you want to go check it out and look at it and see all of the awesome things that they're doing there. I would say scroll down to the hardy kiwis, the Actinidia arguta. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They are tiny kiwis that are like grape size. They're like big grapes. And they are apparently well suited to the Puget Sound region and very productive. And I could say that they were very productive because there was shitloads of them. We didn't know what the hell they were. Olivia's 5. I am 44 years old, and I had never seen a tiny little micro kiwi before. And there was just a ton of them on a tree. So we picked some of them and started eating them. And then we figured out which ones were good and which ones were bad. And oh my God, I kind of want to have one of these trees, but I don't know if I have 40 years to invest in growing one big enough to fruit. I don't know how long it's going to take to fruit it, but it's an idea. So we'll see. Turns out you need a male one and a female one or you're shit out of luck. So we'll see how it goes if we can try and get some saplings of those and get them in the ground and grow tiny kiwis that were delicious. But yeah, if you want to go look at that website, there it is. You can go check it out. It's hosted by Washington State University. Bunch of cool people, and it was radical. I could say it was a lot of fun. Not what we expected. Wasn't as accommodating as we had expected, but it was still a lot of fun to go run around out in the orchard and pick fruit that has been pretty well cared for by university students and professors and whatnot over the years. So that was really cool. And like I said, I think I'm going to be trying to go back there as much as I can for the future presentations and future things that they have going on, where I can spend more time and pay more attention. Hopefully, from my understanding, they have some evening stuff that I could just go up and nerd out and do tree stuff and not force the girls to go.
I'm going to have to check out the Wenatchee one because I do have trees over here. And for me, it's not just Eastern Washington, it's Eastern Washington and elevation, which usually isn't kind to fruiting trees. So
True.
I'll have to go and check that out.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely worthwhile. Definitely was an awesome resource that we really didn't know existed up until 2 months ago, and we signed up to go to the thing this last weekend. And I'm glad that we did. And we will continue to go up there, and it seems like a wonderful resource for gardening and orchard work. I don't know. But I do realize that while we were there, I've got a deep passion for owning an orchard someday, owning a blueberry farm someday. I definitely, I want. The fuck is this? Stop. Things are auto playing on my phone because I got a text that I was trying to check and failing at auto playing things over here. So, okay. Oh, Vicky's automatically opening and closing the garage again, and it makes a beeping alarm sound.
Fun.
Hold on. Can you entertain the masses for a minute? I have to go to the bathroom. Play some soothing tunes.
Put on the Be Right Back, man.
I did.
Okay. So, Mitham, what is going on in your area of the world at this time? Oh, he didn't give us soothing tunes. He just gave us Be Right Back. Very exciting. Fam link never showed up, I see. You live in a 300 millimeter, I'm assuming, house is in the middle of the country. That's where I can grow some trees, fruits, berries. Well, what kind of fruit trees are good in your area? I have 2 apple trees and 2 plum trees, and we'll see how they continue. I would love to have a garden here also. Where I live, I need to move. I have the space for a garden, I just haven't had the wherewithal, and I have cattle that come onto my property right now. Apples, pears, and cherries. Ah, the 3 fruits that my area is known for. I know I keep saying that, sorry about that. Oh, he's returned.
I have returned, I'm the voice from the sky.
I was going to say, or Puffy has escaped.
Yes, Puffy has escaped. Everyone's escaped.
Megan wants to grow apples, pears, and cherries.
Yes.
And have a garden.
Apples, pears, cherries. Yes. I am building a big garden here at the house. I've been recording some of it. So I'll probably make a video out of it someday. I don't know. I need to get an editor. I'm realizing that, like, I keep piling up all this video from the stuff that I'm doing, and then I don't have an editor, and it just, I don't know. There's just a million things going on all the time, and don't have time to edit. Continues to be a problem.
Is Wilford Brimley on the other side of that mic, or did he just come off the mic completely?
He's on this mic over here.
Oh, okay.
In case we need to go dueling mics. We can go
I was
2 mics
watching
at the
an
same
old
time.
video and
And go
realized
like,
that I
"Hey.
missed old Wilford.
Hey, Wolford Brimley, what are you doing? Wolford's on this microphone over here.
Edith.
Just through process of an elimination, this microphone got plugged in over here, and that one is over there. So I put both of them out here because I assumed that I was going to have guests at some point. That was kind of the idea, but we've yet to have a guest here at this place. So we don't have a guest, and I don't know if we are ever going to have a guest. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, there you have it. Ooh.
But the other microphone's right over there. I am starving.
Yeah, me too.
I'm super hungry.
Somebody is going to show up at your place. Did you not eat your lunch today? What's up with that?
I did not have lunch today.
You have failed at feeding yourself.
I made spinach, pineapple, blueberry, yogurt smoothie, and a piece of toast for breakfast, and that was 3.5 plus 5, 8 hours ago. So
Going far away.
a hungry guy. Well, speaking of that, I don't know. Everything just seems pretty chill today on Indigenous Peoples Day. So speaking of that, we'll probably end the stream because I'm probably going to keep coughing into people's ears and try to do some other streams this week, but I don't know. What do you think?
Sounds good. Go and do some stuff and some things before the child must be rescued.
Oh, Mickham wants to know, what berries do you grow? Raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, not on purpose.
Never on
where-
purpose.
Where I live in Western Washington, blackberries are prolific, and you have to fight them.
Gorge.
You have to fight them more than you would ever imagine. It's a scourge.
There are nowhere near enough goats to remove all the blackberries.
And then we did some strawberries this year, but they didn't come in all that great. Mainly, the location of planting was suspect.
Yeah.
Not enough sun.
I'll probably do strawberries and elderberries.
Yeah, we might do elderberries again. Yeah.
I'd like to do some gooseberries, but I don't know if I can do them here or not.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. But yeah, we could do huckleberries. We could do some other stuff. I wanted to get a huckleberry tree, and then our neighbor has grapes, this big giant grapevine situation, which she's far too old now to clean those herself. So we help her out with that. And then she has plums. She has plums and nectarines. A lot of stone fruit does fairly well in Western Washington. The smaller ones, not big peaches and stuff like that. They need a longer season, but plums, nectarines, stuff like that does pretty good. The grapes are sort of hit and miss as to like whether or not they'll actually get ripe enough to sugar content be high enough. It really depends on the end of the summer if we get a long stretch of hot. Otherwise, they are tart and hard and not really grape-like. So, yeah, but we're gonna have a gigantic garden season next year. So, stay tuned for YouTube videos about garden stuff. I know that people didn't like the YouTube videos about garden stuff in the past, but who cares? If you make stuff for the simple reason to be popular, you will make stuff that is not popular. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or connected, or, yeah, it'll all be chaos.
Yeah. So, but I appreciate everybody for coming out today. Witchy Cat, thank you for calling in and being gifting our member. We have a gifted member of the Cowgirl at Heart.
Maybe
Is
someday we'll see her.
Was our new member. Maybe we'll see him. It could be a guy. I don't know. It's just a them. Who knows? until they identify themselves. We just don't know. But I appreciate everybody for following along on the channel. I realize I'm super starving, and I'm just going to go eat something instead of trying to make something and then eat it on stream like a psycho Twitch streamer. But thank you very much. We'll talk to you later.